Madam Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that all members may have 5 legislative days in which to revise and extend their remarks and include extraneous material on the subject of my special order.
Without objection.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Today is a historic day. It is the 4th day of the Democrats' government shutdown. There is a profound difference of opinion on not just Obamacare, but on the size and role of government in our lives. The future course of our country and what we look like hangs in the balance. Will we continue down the path of a bigger government that takes more of our hard-earned money, inflicts a substandard health care system on us, and tramples our rights, or will we be a nation of the people, by the people, and for the people that protects our rights, ensures our liberties, and allows us to keep our hard-earned money? These are big decisions, and America is watching how we as leaders solve these problems and come to a resolution. As Republicans, we have been here and have put forth proposal after proposal to fund the government and keep it open and protect the American people from this onerous health care law. We have sent over to the Senate numerous proposals to keep the government open while ensuring no one gets special treatment under Obamacare. Unfortunately, Harry Reid and the Senate Democrats rebuffed every attempt to negotiate and slammed the door to talking. They went home last weekend. We stayed here and worked. They tabled each of our proposals. We appointed conferees. Harry Reid refused to appoint conferees. He has slammed the door to reopening government by refusing to talk. President Obama called Speaker Boehner to the White House yesterday. We were encouraged. Sadly, the message was, "I've called you here to tell you I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to talk. Goodbye." You can't negotiate if you won't talk. My mother is a pretty special lady and a pretty wise woman. When I was a little girl, she knew how to get my sister and I talking again when we were mad after a fight. She'd make us sit in a room together for half an hour. We hated it. It was uncomfortable at first. We didn't want to make eye contact or communicate, but by the end of 30 minutes, we were always talking again, and we were ready to set aside our differences and move forward. That's what needs to happen here. Got a post here. Let's talk. That's what we need to do. But instead, the President has resorted to tactics and over-the-top political stunts that are not only harmful to moving the discussion forward, but harmful to American citizens. He furloughed defense civilians and reserve personnel. This is in spite of the legislation we passed and he signed to prevent that. The Pay Our Military Act appropriates funds to our military and allows all defense workers to remain on the job. But the President has decided to furlough workers anyway. As a result, over 150,000 Army civilians and 75,000 Navy civilians were sent home. Reports are coming in that long overdue maintenance at shipyards is being delayed and not completed. Our national defense is jeopardized because our Commander-in-Chief has sidelined our military. But that's not all. The President has chosen to try to inflict as much public pain as possible to get his way. For the first time in history, he has closed the U.S. memorials in Washington, D.C. and around the world. Despite many of these memorials being open-air venues with 24/7 access 365 days out of the year, he has spent precious tax dollars renting barricades to close them. Earlier this week, President Obama ordered the National Park Service to close the World War II memorial despite the fact that numerous World War II veterans had been planning for months to travel to D.C. to visit the iconic memorial as part of the Honor Flight program. Here's a picture of what they were greeted with. Instead of being greeted like heroes, these veterans came to D.C. to see metal barriers surrounding the monument in the middle of the mall, erected to honor their service and their sacrifice. There was no need to ever close the World War II memorial other than to make a political point, as keeping these monuments open would not cost a thing and were funded primarily through private donations by those wishing to honor these veterans. When I went down Wednesday morning to help remove the barriers for veterans from Missouri so they could see their memorial, I was ashamed of the President's action and continuous lack of respect for the men and women who fought and died for our country. The unprecedented action of closing monuments has never been authorized during any previous government shutdown by any other president, including President Clinton, and underscores this president's desire to purposely do everything in his power to make Americans suffer from his political games. The president has since seen the public outcry and opened the World War II memorial, but only to veterans. Unfortunately, it remains barricaded to the general public and all other war memorials. President Obama has also barricaded other venues in D.C., such as the FDR Memorial, the Lincoln Memorial, and the new Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial. And here they are in this poster doing that. He himself dedicated this memorial in 2011, and during his dedication speech, he referenced many important milestones in the life of Dr. King and made reference to the fact that this monument was meant for all who seek freedom and testament to the numerous, and here's the president's words, the numerous barricades that have fallen since Dr. King started his fateful journey to push for social justice. However, the president has chosen to needlessly punish Americans who travel to D.C. to pay homage to the monument and has literally erected barriers to keep out those visitors. In that same 2011 speech, the president points out that if Dr. King were alive today, and here's his quote, he would want us to know we can argue fiercely about the proper size and role of government without questioning each other's love of country, with the knowledge that in this democracy, government is no distant object, that is rather an expression. It's rather an expression of our common commitments to one another. He would call on us, Dr. King would, to assume the best in each other rather than the worst, and challenge one another in ways that ultimately heal rather than wound. I sincerely wish the President would heed Dr. King's wise words and sit down with us so we can work out our differences instead of needlessly punishing Americans for his inability to find common ground and civilly pass legislation. Let's talk. Now I want to give my colleagues an opportunity to share their thoughts about this important time in history. So I would like to yield a couple of minutes here to my good friend from Tennessee, Diane.